Hi, Stefan Kesting from GrappleArts.com here. To get good at jiu-jitsu or submission grappling or any grappling-based martial art, you need to learn a fair number of techniques before you're even at a functional level. And of course, to get up to the level of mastery, sort of a black belt type level, there's a whole lot of techniques that you need to learn. So it's worth talking about and worth thinking about what the best method is to get good at a new technique. We learn new techniques all the time. Most of the time we do a couple of reps and then, okay, well, I guess we'll try it in sparring when I see that situation. And I think for the important techniques, for the things that you really need to get good at, I think that's actually the wrong approach. So, first of all, you clearly have to learn the mechanics of the technique. The left arm, my other left arm, otherwise known as my right arm, goes here. My left arm goes there. My foot goes here, my hips go here. I move this way, I adjust, I grip here, and then I finish the technique. So those are the mechanical steps. And you have to get those more or less right. And of course, you're going to keep on tweaking it as you go along. If you do this technique for a couple of years, I guarantee you're not going to be doing it the same way a couple of years down the road. But you need a good, solid starting point. That's where your instructors come in. That's where instructional materials come in. That's where apps, DVDs, YouTube, whatever, however you learn best for that technique, that's where that comes in. The next step is you need to get some repetition. Now, take a look at judo. Judo guys, top level judo guys, have got 2, 3, or 4 go-to throws. Compare that to jiu-jitsu guys who've got a whole bunch of moves. The difference is, the reason these judo guys can pull off these few moves that are difficult and complex is because they're doing tons and tons of repetition. For each one time that they throw a guy in the championship match in a tournament, they've done thousands or tens of thousands of repetitions of that move. Rep it, rep it, rep it, rep it, or rep the entry, rep the entry, rep the entry, rep the entry, rep the throw. And it's a pretty fundamental difference between the way the jiu-jitsu guys approach it. Hey man, how's it going? Okay, yeah, I saw this cool armbar. Cool, I'll do it 2 or 3 times. Hey, thanks for showing that to me. That's fun, but really, if you want to get good at something, you got to do more reps. Now, to be fair, I don't think you need as many reps in the ground as you do for most moves in standing. I think most judo throws are more technically complex and you need a bit more explosive speed and there are more variables in the move itself. I think you got a bit more slack in the ground. So you don't need tens of thousands of repetitions necessarily, although some very, very good grapplers get hundreds of reps in a day of their favorite techniques. But you need a couple hundred reps for sure before this technique will start working for you on the mat. But now, you've learned basic technique. You've done some basic amount of reps so your body feels comfortable with it. How do you move it to the next step? The sparring with somebody, to use it in sparring. I think a lot of people do it wrong. They go, oh, I've learned a new armbar entry. I really want to tap out that big tough brown belt, the guy who's 30 pounds heavier than me and has won a whole bunch of medals, and I'm going to try this on him because I've done 300 reps. Best case scenario, I've done 300 reps. And the brown belt will probably see it coming a mile away, shut it down, punish you for trying, knee on the face, choke you out, and you'll go, stupid move, I knew it wouldn't work, I hate jiu-jitsu, I don't like training. And that's because you did it wrong. Now, what's the right way to do it? The right way, I think, is something that I first heard from a Royler Gracie interview years and years ago. I know he has said stuff like this, so I'm going to give him credit, but I think I heard it from him first. And that's, you've got a brand new technique. You're going to start out by doing it on the lightest, whitest white belt in the club. You're going to pick the guy who's the least physical specimen, brand new, and you're going to do it with him until you can do it. Let's talk about an armbar entry, an armbar from side mount, say. You're going to do that, and you're going to spar, you're going to be wrestling, but you're not trying to do every technique. You're not trying to do any submission. You're only trying to do one submission. You're trying to do that one armbar. And when you can hit it on him consistently, say you get it 3 or 4 times in a round, well, you've learned probably what you're going to learn from that person for now. You move on to the next person, the next heaviest, lightest, whitest white belt, until you can get it to work consistently on them. Then you move on to the next whitest, lightest white belt. and you do it until it works consistently on them. Each person will give you a different set of reactions. One guy will always link his arms like this, so you'll get good at breaking this grip. The next guy will defend the armbar like that, and you'll defend that grip, or you'll learn how to break that grip. The next guy will turn his body a little bit differently on average, and you'll learn how to cope with that. Maybe the technique can be adapted for each person's idiosyncratic movements, body type, and techniques. Once you've worked your way up the food chain with the white belts, you start back with the blue belts. You start with the lightest, bluest blue belt, and you go up, so you get increasing weight and increasing experience. And that way you go up and you get good at doing the technique on the people who are not so good yet. So you don't go out and try it on the brown belt, get crushed, and go stupid jiu-jitsu. You're developing the confidence, the nuances, and the tweaks to get really, really good at the move. Now, for the first while, you're doing that technique to the exclusion of other things. Say, I want to learn a new mount escape. I've learned the elbow knee escape. Well, I'm going to do the elbow knee escape on all the light people. I'm going to do it, then I'm going to go up the weight, then I'm going to start doing it on the more experienced people, going again from lightest to heaviest. But if I'm sparring with somebody, I'm going to give them mount. Here, mount me. Most people will gladly accept the gift of a mount. And you try that escape. Once you get out, you put them back in guard. You say, thank you. Can I go back and can I give you mount again? Now they know what you're going to do. So now, in order to pull that off against the same person, it's going to be a little bit harder. And once you've done it a couple times, especially if you're doing it over multiple sessions, they're going to be going home and thinking about it, going, what can I do to shut down that goddamn escape? And they're going to come up with ideas. And them coming up with ideas means that you're going to have to come up with answers to their ideas. So a rising tide lifts all boats, right? They're getting better, you're getting better. They're getting better, you're getting better. And that's the right way to do it. You got to not let your ego get in the way. Like, I only like to be on top. It's going to be hard not to be choking people out, because you're not choking people out. You're working on your mount escape. Now, not to say all your training needs to be like that. I'm talking about the training that you're doing when you're trying to get good at a technique. So I've made that mistake before, many times, of learning a new technique and then trying it out on somebody that I really wanted to tap out, my main training partners. Because, you want to tap out your training partners. That's what the game is about. But, if you pull it off and you give them warning and they learn to recognize what's coming, then it's never going to work. If you've spent all that time honing it on the beginners and on the lighter people and you've moved your way up the ranks, and I used white belt, blue belt, purple belt, whatever, as an example. If you're doing no-gi, it's the exact same thing. You pick the lightest, least skilled person and you move up through the ranks. You go to the next lightest, semi-skilled person. And this will really, really, really accelerate your training. And it's especially good if you don't have very many training partners. Because what you're doing is you're bringing up the level of your training partners and countering your moves, which will force you to get better. So people can get very good training with a very small group of people, so long as they keep on trying that one thing. You're going to be having, say, an armbar from side mount that you can barely get on some white belt, because that white belt has learned how to shut you down. And you can get it sometimes if everything's perfect. Then you go train with a heavier blue belt from another school or somebody you haven't tried that on yet, and it just falls in your lap. It's just right there for you. And that's a fantastic feeling when you hit that. So I hope that idea helped, and it's going to help you structure your training. Again, you don't do it all the time, but it's a really useful tool to use some of the time. Now, as you might have noticed, I'm wearing a brand new Grapple Arts shirt. After years and years and years of people asking me and saying, when is this coming? I'm finally going to do it, even if it kills me. We're going to have Grapple Arts shirts. The model right now is to have a new shirt every once in a while, sell a bunch of them, and then move on to a new version, a new design, a new model, a new logo. I don't want to bore you with all the details about the new shirts that are coming. A much better idea is for you to go to grapplearts.com/merch, and you can read all about it, find out all the details, find out how to get your hands on a shirt. Thank you very much for listening to me rant about this. I think it'll really help. Good luck with your training, and I'll see you on the mats.